For the intersection.
They were still working on it today. So-
Yeah, I saw that they had some new cones up around the water mains.
Yes. And sagebrush and sunscreen. I don't know how. I don't know. And every year. He's our dog.
Maybe I.
Hey Donna, are we good to go on your end? Okay, good evening. I'm going to welcome you all to the July 7th meeting of the Pendleton City Council. This is our first meeting for the month, and we are first, before we go into the meeting, Councilor Schulberg is excused for this meeting, and we're going to move forward with community discussion. So this is a time designated for any person to ask questions or make statements before the City Council on any matter regarding city business that is not on the agenda. And there is a 3-minute time limit if you so choose to come up and provide public comment. Okay. If you could just come up to the podium and please state your first and last name for the record.
Heather Smith. And I would ask for extra time. I was in a motor vehicle accident and I'm recovering from a stroke and a TBI. And Tyler may have to help me.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I am Heather Smith. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I have years of experience working with mental health, with addiction, with homeless, with children. I worked at the state hospital, Blue Mountain Recovery Center. I worked at DHS in Idaho. I have a lot of good connections here in the community. I am also a mother, a wife, and a community member. Can you help me?
You want me to read it?
Yes, please. Right here.
Okay.
So I stand before you tonight, not only as a clinician, but as a citizen who is deeply concerned about the direction of behavioral health in our community. Our most vulnerable neighbors deserve a system built on transparency, accountability, trauma-informed care, prevention, and a true medical model that brings together physicians, mental health professionals, peers, faith leaders, educators, law enforcement, and community partners. People must be treated as human beings, not as numbers, not as a funding source, not as criminals. I am asking this council to help lead that change. I'm willing to volunteer my time to organize a community coalition dedicated to building a stronger safety net and restoring public trust. This is not about politics or blame. It is about protecting people and creating a system that works under current governance of state laws that challenge local action. These challenges will not disappear by waiting. They require leadership, collaboration, and action. I invite each of you to please meet with me. Together we can build a healthier, safer, and more compassionate community. I'm ready to get to work. I hope you will meet with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Rob?
Yeah, Ms. Schmidt, if you would, could you please leave would you be willing to leave your written statement behind? Or email it to City Hall?
Yeah.
Please do that and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, do we have any additional public comment? Anyone online? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go into the strategic plan update.
Madam Mayor, Council, the strategic plan update that I would leave with you is the city staff met with librarian Jennifer Johnson, who's leading our efforts to put together the Built for Zero program. We're going to meet with key staff and put together an outline for what a startup might look like. We've been meeting with Home for Hope, the Home for Hope Committee, and keeping them apprised. And we're going to meet for a half a day and brainstorm what an outline startup might look like. She's been introduced to a few key individuals in the community that have experience with this. And I think as I listened to Ms. Schmidt's presentation, I'd like to visit with her a little bit about that. I think it hits on some of the key points of what you brought up today, namely transparency and coordinated efforts. And so part of my invitation would be for those interested in getting involved to join that effort. I don't think we have to necessarily follow the outline that's been handed down to us, or I don't think it's a one size fits all, but I think it does, like I said, the transparency, the coordination, are key elements that I think are important to something that it seems to be recurringly spoken about over and over again as elements to something that can be successful. After the community meeting last Monday, I heard from the attorney. I understand there's going to be a public hearing in front of a judge the end of August. There is scheduled where the Oregon Law Center is going to be filing a motion to, can you help me out with the term?
Preliminary injunction.
Preliminary injunction. If they were successful in that, what would happen is we would be unable to enforce any of our camping regulations in the city. There's a strategy that's being developed right now to combat that in advance of that. So stay tuned for more on that. But we're proceeding down the path of working with our attorney to be able to deal with what lays ahead. We also have a date scheduled to visit Portland and learn what they've done to have, with what success they've had in terms of learning more about what can be done to provide services in the community, but also deal with, the camping on public property. And I've learned that they were operating under a similar injunction, which is why we saw, the public saw tents everywhere. That injunction, I understand, has now been lifted. And they have resources now to build shelters. The shelters have enabled them to be able to ban camping on public property. So the way I understand the law is if you have enough shelter beds, then you can prohibit resting or camping on public properties. You still have the accountability challenge, where even if people are illegally camping on public properties, there's really no accountability. But there's still that problem. And then also, the problem of accountability for people who are illegally or improperly using narcotics, or people that are trying to get out of their addiction, that the resources aren't there to help them, or people that are mentally ill, the resources aren't there to help them either. So we're also, we had a meeting earlier this week with community counseling services in the county to talk about more mental health services in our community. And we're also continuing to work or stay in touch with the county and Eastern Oregon Alcohol Foundation, who's a primary treatment facility here, hoping that we can get more availability for treatment resources in our community. They're operating, my understanding is, at about 25% capacity. we think, having access to treatment is a critical part of getting people out of their addiction. And so we're trying to push on that as well. Are there any questions that you have for me?
Rob, did anybody cite why they are at 25% capacity?
So my understanding is that they've run into issues with the state and their ability to be able to qualify for state-funded treatment.
Oregon Health Plan?
Oregon Health Authority, I think, governs the treatment process, and you have to be licensed through them. I may not have all those nuances correctly, but they have to be licensed and approved before the state funding can go to pay for treatment, and they've lost that. So they've asked us to help them to the ability, to the best of our ability. And so we're pushing, trying to get the help that they need. But a lot of their problems is just lack of people, that have adequate training. And, we hear time and time again that there's a lack of people that have the training in the profession. And so, I've made multiple phone calls to John Schaefer, who's in charge of Gobi, who provides funding from the state to places like that. I expect the county can help. He can help us, and he's made phone calls, and I just keep prodding people, hoping to get results that can help them. And a lot of times that's what we can do. I found that to be effective, just to keep kind of being the irritating person on the end of the phone that reminds people that this is a problem in our community and we need this resource, and hope that it makes a difference.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Rob? Thank you. I'm now going to call the meeting to order and ask you to please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have many guests that are here with us this evening for our next item of business on our agenda, which is the swearing in of a new police officer. So if I could have Chief Nelson please come up to the podium and introduce us to your new team member.
Madam Mayor, City Council, Tony Nelson Police Department. I'd like to introduce Marcos Rangel and his wife Kimberly. Go ahead, Kimberly. Marcos comes from the west side of the county. He's a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. We picked him up. His first day was yesterday. We're very excited to have him and his family along with us to serve the citizens of Pendleton. So we are very excited to have him on board with us.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to come down there and I'd ask you to come around to this side and is welcome to join us. I ask you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Oregon,
Constitution and laws of the state of Oregon,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Pendleton,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Pendleton,
and the rules and regulations of the Pendleton Police Department,
and the rules and regulations of the Pendleton Police Department,
and that I will,
and that I will,
well and faithfully,
well and faithfully,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office to which I have been appointed
of the office to which I have been appointed
in and for the city of Pendleton,
in and for the city of Pendleton,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Then I ask you to please come and sign both of these. And then you get to take the next one. You can take this one. Thank you, and what was this name? And as I make my way back to the seats, if you've been to one of our meetings before, you know, you are welcome to stay, but you are also welcome to leave if you were here just for Marcos and his swearing in. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations to your family. Okay, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda this evening, and I just had a question. I know that it's been a pretty quick turnaround from our very large meeting, but will we anticipate the meeting minutes from our special meeting at the next council meeting? Okay. And it's my understanding we do not have an executive session tonight, correct? So with the consent agenda here, do we have any items that anyone would like to pull for discussion? Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Innes, seconded by Counselor McBride. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're going to move on to our next item of business, which is new business. And this is resolution 2999, declaring a council seat vacancy and staff report. Bless you.
Sorry, I had to do double duty, so it takes me a second.
You're good.
So what you have before you is resolution 2999, declaring a vacancy in Ward 2 for the Ward 2 city council position, and this is the one that would be for the 2-year term. On June 30th, 2026, Councillor Butler submitted his resignation. So this resolution 2999 accepts that resignation and declares the position vacant. So what that means is that it is now at your discretion how you will fill that position.
Okay. Anybody have any initial questions for Donna?
I do.
Okay.
So is this something that's been announced to the community? Okay.
So
It was in the newspaper, so
Okay.
I guess it's been announced.
Yeah.
So it was made public on this agenda for the city, and then the East Oregonian ran a story about it today, as well as my Columbia Basin.
Okay.
So individuals know about it, and once the seat is declared vacant by the council, then
Right.
it's up to the discretion of the council to determine how we fill that vacancy. Typically, in past years, we have had vacancies and we have put out for general application and said anyone in that ward, is welcome to apply. And we've gone through a process usually with a 2-week or so turnaround, or 2 or 3 week turnaround, to be able to see what we have as far as applications go and to hold interviews. My understanding is this is more of a unique situation when we were thinking back to the past, probably 15 years. We haven't had a situation like this where there's already been someone elected to fill that seat at the start of next year. So all it says in the city charter, and Donna, I'm sorry if I'm kind of going into your territory here,
No,
but
good.
is that the council has the ability to make an appointment, and it has to be a majority decision of the council to be able to make that appointment. So it's up to us to go through and determine what we would like that process to look like. We do have that position, that the individual that's been elected to start in January for that position is Joseph Hull. And so there is an option that we could go through a process. We could open it up to the general public. We could ask for a letter of interest, from him. However, the council would like to go through, that option. One thing staff and I did talk about is that we had a unique situation this year where we have a 2-year term and a 4-year term for Ward 2. I'm mentioning it because the East Oregonian talked about the option of, we had 2 individuals that were elected to Ward 2. One for a 2-year term, one for a 4-year term. And so that is something that's out there for discussion. But as Donna mentioned, this is specifically the 2-year term on the council. And it would be an appointment from now through the end of, or whenever they're sworn in, to the end of this calendar year. So I'm just kind of curious if anybody has any initial thoughts on that. Yes, John.
I think it would be expedient and logical to offer Mr. Hull a chance to take his seat early.
I agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we need to at least ask. And
Okay.
if he's got the availability because I know he could in theory have commitments through the end of the year, knowing that his term wasn't meant to start.
I have to check its availability.
Yeah, I would say, but I think we should offer it that
Okay.
opportunity.
Okay. So going through with that process, I guess my question would be is for more of formal action. I know we do still have to declare the position vacant. But if we're talking about, reaching out to him, would we like something in writing that he's interested in, serving out this portion of the term to be able to go through more of a formal process? We do have the option of, going to him and asking if he would like to start at the second meeting in July with an appointment, or we could discuss it, review it, finalize it in July, if that's the direction the council so chooses to go, and then have him potentially start if he's interested in the first meeting in August. So that's an option too. So.
If you're going to make a motion, can I go sit down so I can record it?
Yes, yes, you're good. Yes, so, so just, does anybody have any preference on how quickly? Yes, Ellie?
I think the difference of one meeting isn't huge. But I do think that having something formal for the record of his intent to start early, so if he is able to and willing to get us a letter before the next meeting, then we could put that as on the agenda and have him take a seat after being sworn in after we discuss that at the next meeting. I would think procedurally.
I agree. I think that would be, one, reaching out to him and see if he does have the availability, because who knows what's going on in his life, and then give him that option of, either the second meeting in July or the first meeting in August, what would work with him. And then also agree, I think there should be a letter of writing that we can put into the record.
Okay, Carol, did you have a comment?
Nope, I agree with that. I
So,
just want to start to work.
so for the process for this, the council needs to go through and approve resolution 2999 declaring a vacancy in the ward, and then we can move forward with that process.
I move that we approve resolution 2999 declaring a vacancy in the Ward 2 City Council position.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Thomas, seconded by Counselor Campbell. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it's unanimous of the counselors that are here. So the position is declared vacant right now. I will reach out specifically to Mr. Hull and share with him kind of what the council just discussed and see moving forward where he's ready to start if he's able to do so. Okay, our next item of business on the agenda is the IT amendment of the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Hermiston for IT services. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and councilors. Leiden Cook, IT Manager. I come before you tonight seeking approval on amending our existing intergovernmental agreement with the city of Hermiston for contracted IT services. Historically, the city of Pendleton has been fully reliant on third-party contracted services for our IT, but it has long been a goal of staff to see better self-sufficiency and the development of our own internal IT department. We recently hired 2 full-time technician staff members who've been doing a wonderful job to handle our desktop day-to-day support. This amendment would shift the existing contracted services for the city of Hermiston to focus solely on engineering support for us for projects, servers, and networking, and allow us to rely on our internal staff for the day-to-day operations of desktop support. I will say City of Hermiston has done a fantastic job in supporting us, but this is a piece of that we no longer require from them now that we can handle it internally.
Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Hey, Brett?
So, the past cycle was roughly $154,000 is what we spent to Hermiston, but now it's going to be just engineering services.
Correct.
Would you expect that to have gone down?
It's a very good question. So from the understanding I've been given by the city of Hermiston is that we have to look at this from a bulk purchasing standpoint. The more you buy, the better the price. And realistically, in the past, they had given us what's called a blended rate that included kind of a steep discount that they didn't give to other communities. And now that we are reassessing this contract with them, that they're wanting to incrementally bring us back in line with what they charge other communities for their engineering services. Should also be noted that the engineering services are much more of a high rate because it's much more difficult work that requires a very high level of expertise to get that than you would regular desktop support.
So the additional cost then with the engineering services is not made up at all by our own folks doing the work that they were doing before.
Let me see if I understand your questions. You're asking, are we not getting add-in value for the additional cost?
I guess, yeah.
To the best of my ability to explain is, it's a good question. What it boils down to is we were put into a different price bracket than we should have been, and that was a good deal for the city of Pendleton. And now we are in line with what we should have been paying all along for just engineering support. So again, this engineering work is very high level and requires basically all of our systems to be reviewed and managed by these engineers. But it is our goal in the future as we continue to become more self-sufficient to hire our own engineers in-house.
But our number of hours of usage, our contracted number of hours of usage is going down
Correct.
from 24 to
Down to
16, down to
Yes.
16. So,
Do you have any additional questions? No?
I was just going to make a motion.
Okay.
Okay.
I did see a hand up.
So he would, it's Kenneth Dunn, and he had a question. Sorry, I didn't see it in the
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah.
He has a question about the resolution, not about this, so we can circle back.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay,
So go
yes,
ahead.
if you'd like a motion.
I move that we approve the amendment to our intergovernmental agreement for the ongoing information technology services between Pendleton and Hermiston as outlined in the recitals.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Ennis, seconded by Counselor Newman. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, it's unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leiden. We'll go back to Mr. Dunn. Apologies that we did not see you on there, but if you have any comments that you'd like to make, you're welcome to unmute. And please state your name for the record.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Kenneth Dunn. Do you need my address as well?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. Just so I'm understanding this correctly, are you moving to formally appoint Mr. Hall as a new council, or are you only intending to submit a letter for his interest?
At this point, the council declared the position vacant and instructed me to reach out to Mr. Hull to check on his availability and to receive a letter if he is interested in filling the term.
Okay, well, at a later date or other city council meeting, will that letter be an agenda item?
Yes, so if he submits a letter of interest, it will be on the agenda at the next council meeting. We have a 2-week period of time between now and our next meeting, so I will reach out to him either later this evening or tomorrow. But Rob?
I would also say that it's fair to say the council has an interest in appointing Mr. Hall to the position because he was elected recently to fill that position on January the 1st.
I understand he's the duly elected council representative. My only concern is how he plans to divest himself from conflicts of interest.
And that there are laws that protect or guard against any city elected official that has or may have a conflict of interest to be able to declare that. That's not a uncommon thing for elected officials to be faced with conflicts of interest, and we police ourselves and guard against that. And if he were ever in a situation where he had a conflict of interest, because he's a businessman, and many of us know that he could have conflicts of interest, he would be obligated to not vote on those items, declare those and not vote on those items.
Okay. I would feel much better if in his letter of intent, if he could explain how he plans to do that, considering that he is, as you mentioned, a businessman in the construction industry.
Yeah, I'd be happy to visit with you further about this. If you wanted to call me at City Hall, we could talk about that. Businessmen often are elected officials, and there are safeguards in place to protect against that. And I'd be happy to visit with you about that.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, give me a call.
Thank you.
Okay, I will.
And apologies for not catching you sooner on there.
No, I
Small,
understand.
but I can
I
see,
appreciate
so.
it.
Okay, our next item of business is the city manager report.
So a couple things that I wanted to visit with the council about. So staff is proposing a workshop next Tuesday night. There's a couple things that we think we should be talking about. One of them is the 120-day moratorium on new marijuana businesses. That expires August the 21st. So we want to have a conversation with you about that. And then another thing that's been talked about frequently is the idea around camping, homeless camping, and the idea of potentially doing a shelter type camp, similar to the Walla Walla model, or Hermiston has a model where they do stepping stones, I think it's called. This is a concept that's been talked about. You've talked about this. Many of you have expressed an interest in having that conversation. We'd like to have that conversation, discuss the pros and cons. We think that would be a timely conversation to have. And so we'd suggest that we have that conversation next Tuesday. If we were to go down that route, I don't want you to think it's something that's going to happen soon. It's a very expensive endeavor, but I think it would be a timely conversation to have. So we would propose a workshop next Tuesday night. Typically, we have workshops at 5:30. They last an hour and a half, or 6:30. I apologize. Typically, they go for an hour and a half, and so that would be our recommendation. And beyond that, I don't have any other items.
I would just like to make a comment in general about stepping stones and the facility in Walla Walla. Both of those are operated not by the city, but by nonprofits. I just that information out there.
Ellie, did you have a comment?
Yes,
Or
that all
question?
sounds good to me. Do we have an idea of when we're penciling the building inspector discussion for workshops?
No, actually, we could probably have that conversation too. Although I want to, let me add that to the list and see if we could have that prepared.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me.
Did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No.
The only thing that I would say is that you might be hearing from me because we have only scheduled out radio appearances through tomorrow. And so I'll be reaching out to see if anyone's interested in filling in that, as well as the farmer's market. With the booth, I believe this week, because of the Pendleton Whiskey Music Fest, there is not the standard market setup. And so that will be a week that we will have off, but we will kind of look and see your schedules and your availability. I also wanted to let you all know, just to put on your calendar, Donna has registered the council for both of the Roundup parades. And so if you are not able to go, just please give me a heads up. We figured we would have the majority of the group that would likely be able to join, at least in one of those. If we don't have enough numbers for one, we can always make an adjustment if we need to. But we just wanted to make sure we met all the deadlines, so. Any future or any additional comments or questions?
Could you give us the dates on the parades?
Roundup is late this year, so we have the first parade is on the 12th, the dress up parade in the morning, and the Westward Ho parade is on September 18th. So
Okay.
because of the first being on a Tuesday in September, we actually we're going to have to make some adjustments probably that week anyways to some of our meetings likely. So we'll be able to look at that.
Oh, I do have one more question.
Yes.
Do Carol and I get points for showing up for a parade that nobody else showed up?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Thank you for doing that. And I apologize for not being able to communicate with you guys about it. Hearing no other business to come before the city council, I am going to call the meeting at 7:36, and the next meeting of the Pendleton City Council will be next week for a workshop at 6:30 on Tuesday, the 14th.
It's at 6:30.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Got it. Thank you.